Welcome, everybody, to the Big Book Roundtable in the RICO 12 family of recovery resources. We are a resource for anyone, anywhere out there who is experiencing the manifestation of the disease of alcoholism in any way, shape, or form. We're also a resource to the loved ones of those people in that situation. I'm Justin B. I'm a child of an all-powerful and perfectly loving God and a multidisciplinary addict living in miraculous one day at a time recovery, which is promised in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And in the Big Book Roundtable, that's what we are doing, line by line, through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I am grateful to be joined from all over North America, my sister and my brother, Nikki M. and David G. Nikki, why don't you come in and introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody, wherever you are in the world. I'm Nikki M., also known as Noodle Nikki. Thank you for the podcast, Justin, and for everybody who comes out to our Monday morning 9 a.m. meeting. I'm a member of many fellowships, and just today, I'm just a real grateful child of God. Just that simple, and grateful to be here.
Thank you, Nikki. David, you're up.
Yeah, thank you so much, Justin, for your service. Nikki M., I'm always grateful to be at the table with you. I'm David G. I'm an alcoholic addict of many sorts. I've been given the gift of recovery since August the 8th of 1994, and I am extremely grateful to be here today, be a part of RICO 12. And you guys, if you live too far out to listen to RICO 12, I urge you to move. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, David. Man, I appreciate that. All right. So what we're doing here is we're continuing on this line by line journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and we're going to read just a few paragraphs again. We are in the chapter Working with Others, starting on page 100. The paragraph that reads, "Assuming we are spiritually fit." It's at the bottom of page 100 of the fourth edition of Alcoholics Anonymous, and we'll just read a few paragraphs there. I think we're actually going to read 3 paragraphs as I continue to review this, but we're going to jump into this. All right. Assuming we are spiritually fit, we can do all sorts of things alcoholics are not supposed to do. People have said we must not go where liquor is served. We must not have it in our homes. We must shun friends who drink. We must avoid moving pictures which show drinking scenes. We must not go into bars. Our friends must hide their bottles if we go to their houses. We mustn't think or be reminded about alcohol at all. Our experience shows that this is not necessarily so. We meet these conditions every day. An alcoholic who cannot meet them still has an alcoholic mind. There is something the matter with his spiritual status. His only chance for sobriety would be someplace like the Greenland ice cap. And even there, an Eskimo might turn up with a bottle of scotch and ruin everything. Ask any woman who has sent her husband to distant places on the theory he would escape the alcohol problem. And I am going to read one more paragraph. In our belief, any scheme of combating alcoholism which proposes to shield the sick man from temptation is doomed to failure. If the alcoholic tries to shield himself, he may succeed for a time, but he usually winds up with a bigger explosion than ever. We have tried these methods. These attempts to do the impossible have always failed. All right, so let's go through those 3 paragraphs. Man, this is something that I hear a lot in the rooms of recovery that I'm in, and I'm grateful to have these insights in this book. Let's start with Nikki. Why don't you take us through with your experience, strength, and hope with these paragraphs?
Well, thank you, Justin. And yes, I guess we did need that third paragraph because it ties it together, because I hear it all the time. And this, I know David does, because this is basically sobriety. If you are not spiritually fit, you're not free. So assuming Nikki, is spirit, and what is spiritually fit? Spiritually fit is the promises coming true. That's how I see it. Now, David might have something else, Justin might have something else, but it is literally, if the promises aren't coming true, then you're not spiritually fit. If you're not recoiling from even an argument or that, I mean, I was at a meeting the other night and the guy literally told me he was leaving to go meet a woman. And we were not in a sex meeting, and he didn't even realize that that it was happening to him. I said, "You do realize?" And he just couldn't see it. So was this person spiritually fit? No way. No way. We can do all sorts of things that addicts, alcoholics aren't supposed to do. You can go to the wedding. Oh, but Nikki, there's an open bar. There's going to be beautiful women in low-cut dresses. I mean, this is where wild things happen. And it's like, if you're not spiritually fit, then you're going to have to lock yourself away. And it says it up here. People have said we can't go where liquor is served, where women are, where there's gambling, where there's food, the all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet. Can't have it. I mean, we must shun friends who act that way or do those things. We must avoid moving picture. I mean, all of this. I don't need to go through it. David probably will go through every word here. I'm going to say bullshit. And my line out says lies from the pit of hell. My sponsee taught me that. He's like, that's a lie from the pit of hell. And it is. Why? We mustn't be reminded of, and go deeper, everybody. We're in 2025. We have porn, and I'm not talking the sex porn everywhere. I'm talking the food porn, the alcohol porn, the drug porn. I live in downtown Toronto, Canada. Everything can be dispensed to you except willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness. But you can get everything else from the store, everything, okay? And then it says, our experience shows that this is not necessarily so because I am a hardcore love addict. And I lost everything in COVID. And I could go anywhere and do anything. Like I was banned from going to see my boyfriend in Luxembourg, my daughter in California. Old Nikki, with my old belief systems, would have gone nuts and done crazy. I could go anywhere. I was so free. I worked the program. So we meet these conditions every day. That means even in a pandemic, Nikki. That means even at your cousin's wedding, sir. This is radical. Remember, we're going to read further on that we're going to have a radically changed attitude. So if you can't meet these conditions every day, you still have an alcoholic mind. And I have an alcoholic mind, and I know Justin does, and I know David does, without picking up a drink. Right? This is not a program of sobriety. This is a program of freedom. You can't just be sober. It just won't work. Okay? And it says there's something the matter with your spiritual status. Like we're in a spirit world and everyone's obsessed about money. We're in a spirit world and you're obsessed with getting laid. Make it make sense. Seriously. Like we're in a spirit world. We're here to learn. Not to gather material things. See, it says Nikki's only chance for sobriety would be someplace like the Iceland green caps. I moved from California and I went Orange County, California, Anaheim, 4-bedroom house, Cadillacs. My mom had fur coats, you name it, pool, jacuzzi. I mean, it was the lifestyle of the rich and famous. And coming to Toronto, all my problems followed me, every single one. And I was 18, had a baby. I mean, and a grip of a progressive illness. Okay. So you're not safe anywhere. You are not safe anywhere. This is all in your alcoholic mind. Okay. My note says we walk freely when spiritually fit. If you just are here to stop drinking, and I love what David G says, anyone can stop doing something. You could stop eating, stop, scrolling, but not everyone can be spiritually fit. That's why it says many pursue it to the gates of insanity or death. So let me finish here. In our belief, remember, we're here for a new belief system. And by now I have one. So any scheme, see, my little plans and designs, the actor who wants to run the entire show, forever arranging the universe in Nikki's crazy mind of combating alcoholism. Everyone has a seat at the table. Alcoholism, which proposes to shield the sick human from temptation, is doomed to failure. Everybody read that again. Failure. You won't make it. If the alcoholic, if the addict, Nikki M, tries to shield herself, Al-Anons, if you try to shield anyone else, don't just do yourself, anyone. You may succeed for a time, but then what? You're going to pick up something, and guess what? I've seen it. I've tried to shield it. I'm a hardcore Al-Anon, hiding bottles, please begging them, don't drink this. And wow, a bigger explosion. I had a perforated eardrum, and I still begged this person to take me back because I wasn't even in a program then. So we've tried these methods and these attempts to do the impossible. What's the impossible? To do what only God can do, to do what only the creator of the universe can. Nikki, quit playing God because it's always failed when you try. Does that make sense, everybody? Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Appreciate that. David, you're up. Why don't you walk us through those paragraphs with your experience, strength, and hope?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Nikki, so much for your shares. I just love the energy that you bring and the experience. It's beautiful. And I agree. I assume all kinds of shit that isn't real when I'm not spiritually fit. But if you remember on page 77, it mentions the word fit. And that's what it's really that we're looking to do, is to fit ourselves to be of maximum service to God and the people about us. And if I have done that through this work up to this point, then I can absolutely assume that I'm spiritually fit. There's a lot of things that I can do that I'm not supposed to do. I don't put myself in front of a loaded gun today, but I don't avoid the water park with my grandkids because there's swimsuits running around out there and a lot of leg. If I'm standing on top of step 10, I'm conversing honestly with my wife. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to avoid that place just because I may have an issue and fall into some lustful thinking. No, I've got step 10 that I can fall back on. I've got people that I can talk to. You know what? I've learned to keep custody of my eyes, keep them in the right place. You know what? I'm going to go. I'm going to go and have fun. But if my grandkids aren't with me, my wife's not with me, I'm not going there. I don't have any reason to be there. I can remember early on, I had a spiritual experience as a result of the steps, and I don't know, I was about a year in, and I just had this massive spiritual experience. And I went to a conference in Oklahoma City where I live. It was a big conference, and it was very beautiful. There were thousands of people there. And at the end that night, they had a lady who got up and she was singing, and it sounded like somebody was butchering a hog, and it was just awful. Worst shit I'd ever heard. And, I looked at my friend. I said, man, I can't stand this anymore. I mean, I'm falling into judgment and resentment. I got to get out of here. And so we left. And he was like, but the night's young. What are we going to do? Well, I'm old now. You ask me now, I'm like, I'm going to go to my room, go to bed. But then, it was like, it's a lot of night left. So we walked down the hall, and we just happened to look to the right, and there was a bar. It was very attractive. It was dark. It had the booze. And I asked him, I said, do you like shoot pool? And he said, yeah, of course I do, and, in the billiards. And I said, well, let's go in there. And he said, no way. I'm not going in there. And I said, why not? And he said, that's a bar, David, for God's sake. We're alcoholics. And I said, yeah, but we're recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind. Are we, or are we not? And he said, well, we are. And I said, and we got each other. It's not like we're walking in there alone to get set up. So, if you don't want to go in, I completely understand. But, that would be my suggestion. We go in there and shoot pool. And we did that. And, and I told the bartender, I said, hey, we're part of the conference down the hall, so we're not drinking here. So if you'd be so kind as to make damn sure if you serve us a soda, there's nothing in that. And he was super cool. And we just stayed in there and had a good time. Now, would I go in there every night, all night? No, hell no. I'd be putting myself in front of a loaded gun. But assuming I'm spiritually fit, I can do all sorts of things that alcoholics are not supposed to do. I'm not supposed to be at that bar, but it doesn't mean that I can't be. My wife and I love to eat Texas Roadhouse. I don't know if you guys have those where you're at, but Texas Roadhouse is the bomb. I love the prime rib. It's just the best. And every time we go in there, we know that it's going to be packed out from front to back. Chances of getting a table are slim to none. And I always ask them, do you guys sit at the bar? And they say, yeah, absolutely, And so we'll go to the bar because they will serve us food there, and we drink sodas. They have the big screens up, we watch baseball, basketball, whatever's going on. We have a good time. I don't even think about drinking. So, I'm not going to hide out from it. Now, if I'm in a bad place spiritually, I'm not practicing step 10, I'm not feeling quite right, I don't want to go sit there. I just don't, because I'm not going to invite disaster. So It says we must not go where liquor is served. I mean, I call bullshit on that. I just do, because, you know, I mean, either I've recovered here or I haven't. And if I haven't, then I don't need to run around acting like I have, because I'm going to get in trouble with that kind of thinking. So don't have it in your home. I don't have it in my home. My wife's brother, they're from California. All my wife's from California. They would come in when he was still living, and, I mean, they like to drink. And, and I just told them, as long as you don't get stupid in my house, I will allow you to bring that in. But the first time you start acting stupid, then I'm going to run you off with that shit. But, I'm not here to drink, and you're not going to make a fool. You're not going to disrespect my home. And so, but that's something, that we did very little. I don't do that very often at all. I don't shun friends who drank. I mean, we go out to dinner with a lot of people, and, if they drink, they drink. That's their business, not mine. I don't avoid moving pictures. I mean, I'm not going to sit down and watch, some steamy shit on Netflix to where they're screwing all day long. But if a scene like that comes up, I can either skip through that, or I can turn my thoughts. I can turn away from that. And I do that. One of the things I hate the worst in this world is to see a little one being born on TV. Oh my God, that kills me. Oh, that's the most awful thing. I think, why do I love kids so much? Look at what they look like there. Oh my God, it's awful, So, but I don't avoid that. I just don't. And so, and I don't expect people to change their lifestyle just because I'm sober if I go to their home. Don't hide your booze. Don't do all that. Live your life. I live mine. We're good. We're good. So I love it says our experience shows this is not necessarily so. We meet these conditions every day. And the man in recovery that cannot do it, well, he still has the mind of an alcoholic or an addict. He just does. But notice how it keeps coming back to the spirit. If that's the case, there's something wrong with his spiritual status. It keeps coming back to spirit over and over. And then, of course, our only chance of sobriety would be somewhere like Canada or Washington. No, I'm just kidding. It's like, but I mean, you're not going to run from this thing, because why? Because it's inside of us. And it doesn't matter where you go, there you are, and it's going to manifest itself. So, and it does. It says, ask any woman who sent her husband to distant places on the theory he would escape the alcohol problem. Now, I'm going to say something that might not sit well with so many people, but a lot of times we send people to meetings. We send people to 12-step, quote unquote, fellowships on the theory that they'll overcome this if they just go to meetings and 12-step fellowships. Now, that's a wonderful start. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying if you come there with that idea in mind, you're missing the boat, because there's something in this book that's not contained in those meetings. Yeah, people share experience, strength, and hope, but if you hear them share about stuff and you go read what the book says about it, you'll usually get two different ideas. But if you get someone like Nikki M, like Justin, like Dennis T, like so many others, you're going to hear the true message, and that's what we're looking for here. So those things are very good, but if you're going to that, I hear that all the time. Change your playmates, change your playgrounds, change this bullshit. I can't change all of these things and me be okay. There's a course of action for me to take through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous that's outlined in the 12 steps. And if I'm not doing that, I don't give a damn who I change, where I go, whatever. There's something wrong with my spiritual status. I have not changed within. And if that's the case, it doesn't matter where you're at or where you go. We're going to end up drunk, most likely, on whatever it is we get drunk on. So in our belief, the scheme of combating alcoholism, try that. Because my book says on page 84 that we've stopped fighting anyone or anything. And if you're still combating, to me, that word means fighting. And if you're fighting alcoholism, not just alcohol, sex, lust, food, whatever, but the ism, the self, that's what you're truly combating, then you're going to get an ass kicking. Just get ready for it, because no one is tougher than this except God. And, if we're not connected to that power, then we're in trouble. And it says right here in our book, it proposes to shield the sick man from temptation that's doomed to failure. And so if I try to shield myself, I may succeed for a time. I can hide out in meetings. I can go to a meeting every day. I can be there 2 or 3 times a day. I'm shielding myself. I'm hiding myself from the temptation. But at some point, something's going to turn up. And when it does, I'm going to fall by the wayside. I know. I was 25 years sober, active in meetings every single day. I was there every night. I was leading book studies. I was speaking from the podium, and I was the sickest man in the room by far. So, yeah. And what happened? Well, it wound up in a bigger explosion than ever. I've tried all those methods, the attempt to do the impossible. It always, always, always failed. There's a program of action here, and it's not about me getting more God. It's about me getting less David. And when that happens, more God is automatic. So this is beautiful. These instructions are here for a reason, not for me just to read over real quick and share it real fast in a meeting, how I help somebody or this or that. This is about me. This part that we're reading in here, this particular part, is more about practice than the principles in all of our affairs. That's what this part is. The front part of the book, the first part of the chapter, that was talking about carrying the message to an alcoholic. But here we're talking about practicing the principles. Don't hide, don't run. Stand up, be a man. Say, hey, I've got a problem. You know what? I'm hurting, and I'm hurting. I'm sober. I've been sober a lot of years. A lot of people respect me and think I'm good, but I'm hurting. Tell the truth. And I tell you that people here like myself and like others, they will understand that. We will. The fifth tradition wasn't only written for the sick alcoholic on the street. It says the man who suffers. A lot of men who inside of the fellowship suffer. But what's killing them is the pride, because they can't stand up and say, you know what, I'm really, really suffering here. I'm suffering. So anyway, it's a great day. It's a beautiful day, actually. I get to celebrate 31 years today. Had a beautiful meeting this morning with my brothers and sisters from all over the world. I got to come here after this and be with Justin and Nikki, my two favorite people in the world. I just love you guys. My grandson came into our life about 3 years ago. He's a little bitty guy. He's 3 now. And, I've always ran roughshod over most people in my life, prior to this experience. And I'd done a lot of damage to his mother through the words and things that I'd said. And some time had rocked on. It's a really cool story. I don't have a lot of time to go into it today, but as a result of my mother falling and breaking her hip and ending up in a nursing home, and we sent out some pictures, so she could see the family. One of the nurse aides that was there seen that picture and said, hey, I know that guy. I'm best friends with his mother, that little boy. And through a series of events, I was able to make amends to this woman a few months ago. And we've been able to heal our relationship since. Today is the first day that I'm going to get him and keep him overnight. And it's a beautiful day for that to happen, because it's 31 years today, brothers and sisters all over the world. Rico, 12 after that. And then to top it off, my grandson. So, wow, God is good. Love you guys. Thanks.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Nikki and David, for sharing those things. I do have a question for each of you, but before I get to that, I want to share just a little bit of my own experience, strength, and hope on this. In my fellowships, a lot of times the people that come into the rooms are saying, hey, what blockers do you use? What filters do you use on your phones, on your computers? How do you keep accountability and all of those things? And maybe that's a help for some people. But for someone like me, I am going to bust through those things no matter what. That the filters, the blockers, they don't work. They may give me a second to go, do I really want to do this? Well, if I'm in that alcoholic frame of mind, yeah, absolutely. I want to do this right now. And that's one of the things that I love about what I've learned as I've gone through the big book here with Nikki and David is, David, how you talk about, and this is a way I do things now with my sponsees, getting them right into steps 10 and 11. That's where I get that spiritual fitness. Assuming I'm spiritually fit because I'm aware of what's going on around me and I'm practicing improving my conscious contact with God as I understand God. And that is what develops that spiritual fitness, so that sooner rather than later, if I have a good reason for being there, I can go into those places. I can be on my phone, on my computer. I can be at the water park. I can be at the beach with my family and be there where my feet are for the right reason, and not to be scoping everything out. And I think that's such a powerful concept here. And in fact, David, since I'm right here, I want to ask you about this. You mentioned if I'm not in spiritually fit condition, I shouldn't try to be convincing myself or others that I am. Let's talk about that. Why don't you dive into that just a little bit more? How do I know I'm in spiritually fit condition in order to do those things? And how do I, in a situation where maybe I'm not in a good place, how do I somewhat gracefully say, you know what, today's not the right day for me to join you there?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. And, one of the ways that I always know that I'm in spiritual fit condition is I'm always seeking to help someone else to make their life a little better. And I'm not just talking about alcoholics and addicts. I'm talking about Nikki's aunt and Nikki's mom and my mom and your mom, Justin, and your daughter. Happy birthday to your daughter. I want you to know that it's Dr. Bob's belly button birthday today as well. And it's David G's 31 years. So, yay, everybody. But, I know that because I have compassion. I have understanding. I want healing for my brother, even the ones I hate. That's how I know that I'm in fit spiritual condition. And how do I know when I'm not? And whenever I'm running around acting like I am? Well, for one thing, if you've practiced step 10 and 11 for any length of time, you're going to know when you step out of the world of the spirit, like Nikki M talks about so often. And don't tell me you don't, because you feel a little dull. You feel a little resentful. I mean, damn. I mean, they're getting more attention over there. Look at that. I mean, that bastard. All I've done to help him, and he won't even show up today to come see me. I mean, those kind of thoughts. That's how I know whenever I'm starting to slip into something that is not the spirit world. But the problem is we still want to run around a lot and act like we are. And that's been my experience. Is I would go around and still talk like everything was fine, and I would talk more at you than I would to you. This is what you need to do. This is what you better be doing. This is what instead of saying, "Hey, man, here's what I've done." And I had a really cool text come at me, and this is from somebody who's not even in the program. It's a spiritual mentor of mine through my church, and he is such a fine man. He and his wife has been a great example to so many, and I love this. He said, "I'm going to celebrate your 31 years of sobriety with a prayer party." And he says this. He says, "Thank you, Heavenly Father, for demolishing the stronghold of addiction in David's life and strengthening him against the temptation to return to that life for these 31 years. David stands today as a testimony of your love for him and your power and grace working in his life. Continue, Father, to keep David on this road of sobriety and give him opportunities to help others who are on the same road." And it's just, that's what it is. I mean, it's us holding each other up. And whenever we're not there, we need to be honest and just say, "I'm not there today, man. I'm just not there. I'm not feeling it today. I really want to talk to you about amends, but I'm not in a forgiving mood today. I'm I'm just not there." So I've learned to be honest with people about that. One time when I made amends to my mother, I'll close with this. I made amends to my mother, and I asked her, I said, "Mom, what can I do? What can I do to make right the years of wrong that I've done between it?" Because Nikki talks about her mother watched her stepfather, kill himself. Well, my mother watched me kill her husband, kill him. And so there's so much trauma, so much PTSD there. And I said, "What can I ever do to make this right?" And she said, "David, I just want you to be happy. Don't scare me no more, please." But she said, "I just want you to be happy." So today, if I'm not happy, I'm having a pissed off and a bad day, I don't go see Mom. She calls me up and says, "Hey, Dave, where are you? What's going on?" I was like, "Well, it's just not a good day for me to come by, but I promise I'll be back tomorrow or the next day." So it's okay to be honest about where you're at and where you're not at. Great news is I no longer suffer from the things that haven't happened to me yet anymore. So it's a good day to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Uh, Nikki, the thing I want to address with you is basically the line of the paragraph. We meet these conditions every day. I've heard you say something like, triggers are bullcrap, that, what do we got to do? Life is a trigger. Why don't you talk a little bit more about that, about, you know, living life as an addict?
Well, I love what David said. It's about radical honesty. I mean, this is what this program is about. Like I could have, as you asked Dave, that was a great question for both of us. And it's like, I'm not going to be spiritually fit every day. And I know that. So, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I like to take my sponsees. We heard a lot today at David's meeting that he takes everyone to the step 10, and I know you do that right away. I take all my sponsees to page 417. And not only do you have to know it, believe it, walk it, and talk it, because if you don't believe that page, and not just the acceptance prayer, not just that everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be, not just that nothing happens in God's world by mistake. Go deeper, everybody. It says, when I stopped living in the problem and began living in the answer, the problem went away. Go deeper. I need to concentrate on what needs to be changed in me. Go deeper. I'm the chief critic. So, Nikki, stop criticizing. Go deeper. When I complain about you or complain about me, I'm complaining about God's handiwork. I'm saying I know better than God. So when I'm armed with the facts, or when I know what and who I am. See, I know who I am. I'm Nikki M. And I suffer the disease, the family disease of alcoholism. I know I'm a spearhead. I know I have brains that God gave me to use. So when I meet these conditions every day of remembering who I am, not who I was programmed to be, not who I thought I was, who I know I am now, it's easy for me to meet these conditions every day because I've been reprogrammed. My belief system has changed. And again, I'm a servant of God. See, I thought the highest title was burlesque entertainer. It's not. Not just, David G's not the only funny one here. Okay, me too. It's okay. And I thought, oh, CEO. No, Nikki, servant of God is the highest title. So when you accept everything, and I mean everything, it is not hard to meet these conditions every day. So even deeper would be believe your big book. And if you don't, why are you here? Seriously, like this fellowship comes with a book. It's like being in whatever religion you're in. If you don't believe your book, why are you there? Like you have to go very, very deep down inside every man, woman, and child is a fundamental idea of God. And what's God? Well, if that's me right now walking around, my sponsor says I'm a little G that defecates, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I love you guys. It's going to be the greatest day today. I mean, it already is, and it's only 12 noon in my country. Not even. I love you.
Thank you, Nikki. All right, let's go into some takeaways, and I'll start off with the takeaways today. My takeaway today is that if I'm in fit spiritual condition, I can do anything. But if I'm not right now and I'm honest about it, that's okay. I can say, you know what? Today is not the day that I'm going to go to the beach. Today is not the day that I'm going to go see my mother because she wants me to be happy, and I'm not. And that's okay. And that's my takeaway today. I just need to get back to that fit spiritual condition and happiness. David, what's your takeaway today?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Justin. It is. It's about being honest. It's about being honest with yourself, being honest with others, and it doesn't, there's a big difference between being honest and telling the truth. There's a damn big difference. And I had an example of that is, you have two people, they go to a hotel and they're married to different people and they're getting ready to do an inappropriate act. And the guy that's signing them in says, are you both married? Are you married? And they said, yes. Well, did they tell the truth? Yes. Were they honest? Nah. Big difference between telling the truth and being honest. Just be honest. Thanks.
Thanks, David. Nikki, talk to us about your takeaway today.
I love these storytellers that David tells us. I just love that. Here it is. Any scheme. Like this is so any scheme other than God's plan, and God's plan, the universe's plan is love. So any scheme outside of unconditional agape altruistic love just isn't going to work in this fellowship. I mean, that's why many don't make it. So I'm prepared to just do God's scheme today, which is love everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. Thank you so much, Nikki. Happy that all of you are here joining in, listening. Let's get into this. If you're in fit spiritual condition, get out there and do God's work. If you're not in fit spiritual condition, get there so that you can get out there and do God's work. David, happy birthday again. We're just grateful to have you here as our around this table with us. Nikki, thank you for being the influence that you are in our lives and the energy you bring. Everybody, keep coming back. It works when I work it. So work it. You are worth it.